Welcome back to Jawing About the G-Men. I am Joe Aguirre along with Sean Scanlon and King Zay. Boy, oh boy. I thought that the Giants were past these Joe Judge-esque endings to football games where 63-yard field goals or 75-yard runs. It was always something. They always found a way to blow it when Joe Judge was the coach. And I think one of the big things for us all last year was you saw this team finally start to figure things out, win some games. And a lot of people along the way to the Giants winning 10 games will tell you the Giants got lucky, which I find to be a preposterous notion in the NFL. You didn't hang with the other team into the fourth quarter by luck. That's not what happened. Unless the other team turned the ball over 7 times and you just weren't able to score. That would be a problem. The Giants defense looked outstanding. The Giants running game was competent. Sean and I just talked about this just before we went live here. We haven't had Saquon in the lineup, and that certainly is a different Giants offense without him. I said last episode I would love to see Okereke step up. Just let us know you're here, showing up for work. He was a monster all over that field. I think there other than Thibodeau didn't show up for work. This defense, I think, was outstanding.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to see the pass rush get there a little more, but you can't ask for more than holding the Bills, one of the classes of the whole NFL, not just the AFC, holding them to 14 points, giving them a shutout in the first half. You can't ask for more than that, and you need to get more than 9 points from the offense, especially when they go 0 for 5 in the red zone. The blunder at the end of the first half, which is absolutely inexcusable, cannot happen. You can't check out of that the pass play when you know that you don't have any timeouts and there's only 14 seconds left. Especially for a veteran quarterback, you got to know better than that. But defense did everything they could. Like you said, Okereke looked like, Harry Carson, Carl Banks out there. Micah McFadden has been playing really well too, and that secondary held up. You would like to see more pass rush, but like you said, can't ask for more from this defense. They look phenomenal, but it's the offense that let you down. Even though they were pushing the ball downfield a little bit, you got to be able to score touchdowns in this league, and that's really pretty much what held them back from the win on Sunday night.
Is my go? Are y'all done? Y'all done crying? Is my go?
Not yet. I
got a question.
You're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous person.
Joe, I know you said you played running back in high school, fullback, or whatever the hell they had back then, whatever they called it. Sean, what did you play in high school?
The end.
Yeah, don't ever tell me about the quarterback position and who should check out and what should never be checked out. First off,
that's, I mean, you could say that all you want, but it was the worst decision to make there.
You had your word. First off, it's very similar to, again, last year how the Giants probably could have thrown the ball against Tennessee, but decided to run the ball with Saquon, and if he had been stopped there, it probably would have looked exactly the same. But guess what? He didn't, and Saquon scored. I'm going to be real with you. It's a 1-inch run. The Giants should have scored. You should have had push from the line. You should have got your running back in there. It shouldn't have been an issue. Yes, he checked out of it. He saw something that he didn't like, and that's what the quarterback is supposed to do. He made what he felt was the right read, and I'm never going to argue the quarterback in the situation because guess what? I'm watching from home, and me and you, we're all watching from home. He's on the field. And so I'm never going to question his call and what he saw from the linebackers. Did he see the lineman shift? Did he see something that he thought that we could run against? Maybe he saw that. Maybe that's why he called that. Again, I don't know. I don't know what the play call was. I don't know what his check down options were, but I know that he called a run play and it failed. And guess what? In the sport, this sport is a what have you done for me lately sport. And when things look bad and when you have a play like that, people bring you down. Let's go back to the Super Bowl with the Seahawks. We all agreed they should have ran the ball 3 times, correct?
Yeah.
But what happened? They threw the ball and it was an interception. Who's to say Tyrod Taylor doesn't drop back, throw the ball, and it's an interception for 6? Right before
I would be.
I can live with that.
Okay with that.
I can't.
I can live with that.
I can't. Not from the 1 inch yard. No, not from the 1 inch line. Not when I'm watching the Eagles do a tush push and get into an end zone every freaking time automatically. No, I can't. You're not going to sit here and tell me that the run percentage is worse. You can look up the statistics. It's easy. It's better to run in that position than it is to throw. If you want to look at analytics.
But in that situation, you have no timeouts.
I'll be real with you. If the Eagles had no timeouts, do you think they weren't calling the tush push?
We don't have the best O-line in the league.
I'm not asking that. Do you think they're not calling the tush push? Look, if you have NFL quality linemen, you should be able to get in half an inch of push. I don't want to hear that.
I don't disagree.
I really do not want to hear that you can't get pushed because you're not playing the best defensive line in the league. You're playing a pretty good defensive line who had a beat-up linebacking core. You should have been able to get the push you needed to get a half an inch. We're not asking for the whole player to get in the end zone. We're asking for the ball to break the plane. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm asking. And again, when the Giants won again against Tennessee on the extra, we went for the 2 instead of going for 1. There was tons of penetration. That was the actual worst play call they could have called. And guess what? It happened to work out for us. Saquon was touched twice in the backfield before he scored on that 2-point conversion. A scenario situation, yes, you can say no timeouts. Yes. But again, it's all negated if they score. That's why I'm not critical of Tyrod Taylor. It's 1 inch. If you told me they were sitting at the 5 and he called a run with no timeouts, I'd be like, yeah, that's retarded. What are we doing here? But you're at the inch-yard line. In Madden, I'm calling run 96, but I'm calling it right up the middle. And hopefully my team better block. I don't care. I'm calling a quarterback sneak. You're doing something running-wise. You don't have the personnel to go out there and throw a jump ball. I'm sorry. You don't.
Let me ask you this. Did you wake up this morning and think to yourself, I'm going to defend Tyrod Taylor on the podcast tonight?
I'm going to defend football and how the position is played. Because I'm so tired of guys who sit on the couch that's never played the game that always want to critique and tell people how to do. Oh, well, Daniel Jones should have thrown this pass. Oh, Tyrod made the same throw and Daniel Jones. Guess what? Those are 2 different quarterbacks. They're 2 different players. I keep telling people Tyrod Taylor is in effort mode. He's a journey quarterback. He get those 60 interceptions. Guess what? He's going to be a backup next year somewhere. That's just what happens when you become a journeyman. There's no big contract coming Tyrod Taylor's way. So, yes, Daniel Jones does hesitate. He is under more pressure. He does tend to hold the ball more when he should release it when we've seen Tyrod take advantage of quick throws. And obviously, like I said, the pass to Jalen Hyatt that he had on the sideline is very similar to a play that Daniel Jones ran the week prior, and he got sacked on it instead of throwing the ball. But again, they're 2 different quarterbacks in 2 different scenarios. Stop trying to compare the 2. And no, we're not a better offense with Tyrod Taylor. I'm not saying you guys said that. I'm just venting from the internet. We're not a better offense.
Listen, I'm glad you brought that up. Sean and I actually were laughing about that.
It's preposterous. How many points did you score against Arizona? He scored no touchdown. We had 9 points.
Here's what the fans saw and are reacting to. Look, clearly they figured out that run play, right, where the guard pulls, right, and kicks out the linebacker, and it worked a whole bunch. And it really helps when it's Saquon Barkley hitting that hole. Matt Breida is awful. He is a terrible running back. He does not recognize holes. He doesn't allow the blocks to develop. There was a big play, the only one really in that third quarter that got stopped up. He cut it back to the left, and it opened up about a quarter of a second later. So Matt Breida is awful. And him in that offense being the lead back for all these weeks for Daniel Jones, it's a disaster. So fans are reacting to the idea that, look, Saquon got some yards, made some plays. The offense looked better. Yes, because you're handing it to the all-generation running back who makes things happen. So now if only we can have Jones and Barkley together, And if this offensive line, whatever Brian Dable said at halftime to the offensive line, and I could imagine choice words were used, those guys stepped it up and they played great in the second half. Now, can you carry things over? Is Andrew Thomas closer to playing? Is the answer putting Neal in at guard instead of at tackle? Is that an overreaction? There, Justin Pugh, by the way, player of the week. Come on. That guy. And it's funny because for weeks he's been begging these guys, like, call me. It looks like you need some help on the line. They were like, no, we were good. And they weren't.
At all.
No.
At all. I don't even know why they didn't have. They should have signed Liddell Collins too. Also, the cut from the Bengals. I think as much depth as you can get on the offensive line, you have to get right now. Because again, I keep telling people the difference between this year and last year is luck. It's just simple luck. The Giants had a better schedule based off of luck last year. They faced a lot of teams that weren't going to be playoff teams the first 5 games. This year,
that's not lucky. I mean, that was misfortune of playing like garbage for the last couple of years.
Again, call it what you want. It's luck. And it worked out for them. They didn't have to deal with injuries. It is. Joe, in sports, there is a bit of luck in everything. In everything.
No. First of all, luck is imaginary.
No, it's not. Because you could have got this schedule last year. You could have got this schedule last year for Dable's
not
first
made
year.
The playoffs, and we'd have a higher pick for next season.
And we'd have a coach in the hot seat
now.
Exactly. That, my friend, is called luck. Whether it's your luck, Daniel Jones' luck, my luck, the head coach's luck, it's someone's luck in that locker room that they had a light schedule in the beginning of the year. And this year, it's bad luck because it's been reversed. And injuries. They were healthy last year. They didn't have the injuries.
In the one score games, the Vikings famously were 11-0 last year. They're 2-4 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Did their luck run out? Is this just a luck running out thing? Again, I don't understand. I don't know how
it could be.
You could think that a professional football team is going to hang with another professional football team because they're
the Eagles. The Eagles have been doing it for weeks. The Eagles could easily be 1-5 right now. They should have lost the first week to the Patriots. Sure, make that face you want.
Easily 1-5.
They literally scored at the end of the game to win. They literally were on the ropes to lose that game. Look at their schedule. Look at the teams
they beat the Bucks and Vikings.
Everyone they had beaten this year, they won on a field goal against the 49, against the Vikings at the end. They should have lost to Washington because there was a catch on the sideline that was called out of bounds. That was inbounds. That would have been Washington's kick for the win. The Eagles they just lost to the Jets.
Are you talking about? Hold on. I think what you're talking about is the referees cheating, and that's a whole other show.
No. The Eagles have been getting lucky this year. That's why, and their luck ran out last week against the Jets, where they couldn't do it, where they couldn't get over a hump. A high-powered offense like that couldn't find offense. Explain that to me.
I mean, maybe they're getting lucky, but you can't say
kicking field goals.
You can't say they can easily be 1-5 right now.
They easily could be.
Not true.
They could easily be.
A lot of rabbit's feet.
Again, they should have lost to the Patriots week 1. I don't know if you watched that game. The Patriots were winning that game for the majority of the game. The Eagles happened to pull it out their butt at the end of the game. They should have lost that game. The Vikings game, won on a field goal. Again, another tough game.
That's not true. They beat the crap out of the Vikings. Did you watch that game?
All right, bro.
They pulled away late.
All right.
No, they're not like 14 the Vikings scored.
I'm sitting at CBS watching every game every week. Don't tell me this.
I must have not remember that game then. I don't know.
Bro, again, they could have lost to the Rams. Easily pulled away at the end of that game. They did not pull away at the end of the Jets. And guess what? They lost because they have been letting mediocre teams swing. Right. Look at the records. Look at the records of these teams that they've beaten.
Right. Hold on.
Am I wrong? Look at the record of the team they've beaten. The Patriots 1-4. The Vikings. Excuse me. Patriots 1-5. Vikings 1-5. What are the Buccaneers' record? It's like 2. I think they're the only winning record they're placing. The Redskins have 3-3. Rams another trash 3-3 team. They haven't beat anybody. They haven't beat anybody of quality. Look at the Giants. The Giants have played tougher teams in the beginning of their schedule than the Eagles have. I'm just gonna say between the
We're
Cowboys, the
1-5 and they're
49ers.
5-1.
I wish having a harder schedule meant something because it means is they're 1-5.
I think it does. Like you said, with last year, we had the easier schedule. We wouldn't have made the playoffs with a harder schedule. That's what you said.
What is an easy schedule in the NFL? Playing teams that didn't make the playoffs last year? I don't know. Again, I don't think that has anything to do with luck.
Top 10 picks next year. That's an easy schedule. When your schedule is full of those, that's an easy schedule.
All right.
Again, you can't
Let's talk about this.
It is what it is.
I don't know who you're going to want to defend here, but Zay, I'm curious your thoughts.
What are we saying? Like I told you,
this here. What was going on here? Blown call, controversy. People are going nuts. What was your? Should they have run the ball on that play? According to Zay, maybe. I'm curious your thoughts.
Of course not. So let's wait further out. But again, we're not the Chiefs. We're not going to get back-to-back pass interference calls. It's never going to happen. It's clearly pass interference. He's grabbing him. He's holding him before the ball gets there. It's at least a holding. If it's not pass interference, it's at least offensive holding. Defensive holding. But hey, it is what it is, bro. I'm not here to worry about the past. We got to move on.
Sean.
It was holding. But I sort of agree with that. You're not going to get 2 calls in a row, especially after you just get one to get put in the 1-yard line. So even if they do call it, I don't have any trust in them to punch the ball in. They haven't scored many touchdowns at all this season, aside from that Cardinals game. So, and they've been terrible in the red zone. So even if they do get that call, I don't think they punch it in from the 1. So regardless, Giants fans can argue that all they want. They could say that we got robbed and we should have won that game, but we had many opportunities to punch it in the end zone all night, and we didn't do so. So even if we get that call, I don't have any trust in this offense to, go ahead and put it in for
Quick question before we move on. Sean, 1-yard line. Daniel Jones is in there, and it's not Tyrod. You don't think they call a quarterback sneak? Well, especially
they definitely could,
because he's a bigger body. But that's what I'm saying. They would have called it there. That the right call is the run. The one at the inch-yard line, the right call to me is the run. I'm sorry, at the inch.
I don't disagree. In that situation, yes, maybe, because it all comes down to one play. But in terms of the first half play, I don't want to get back into this argument, but that's just it's not the right call.
6'7", 250-pound quarterback or whatever the hell Daniel Jones is. I'm sneaking it. He's a refrigerator.
Yeah, but he wasn't there on Sunday.
I know. I'm just saying if he's in there, obviously Tyrod's a little smaller.
Yeah, but again, let's just put that whole nonsense to rest. Listen, Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. There's a reason Tyrod Taylor is the backup on the New York Giants.
Without question. Whatever.
Very, very competent and serviceable backup, and I'm glad he's there. I thought he played really well. I thought that was a terrible play at the end of the first half. Here's the thing, and I appreciate you defending him. Even he said he blew it. So I'm gonna go with his own assessment of that was stupid. He messed up. But listen, that's what happens. Hold on. I understand that, Zay, but also listen, that's what happens when you're a backup quarterback, and that's the position the Giants were in. A guy who doesn't have a ton of experience in those situations because he doesn't play.
Well, he's been a starter for years. Let's not go that far. He's been a starter for years for the Bills.
He's been a starter for a year, and he got first-team reps for years, and now he doesn't. And I'm sure that's got an impact on him and how he learns. And again, I'm looking to give the guy a bit of a pass. It wasn't his job to go out there and beat the Buffalo Bills. Nobody was like, Tyrod Taylor's going to go win a football game tonight. He did a great job for what they needed. But Saquon Barkley's got to come up big in these games. He's got to do something. There's got to be some magic moment from him. I'm still looking for that. And again, this was a week where Thibodeau just didn't do anything. One tackle, and was otherwise, to me, running at 3/4 speed most of the night.
I'd like to see more from Dexter Lawrence too, honestly.
Well, Dexter actually showed up in the second half, big time.
Well, he had to because they were eating his lunch in the first half. They were eating his lunch, Zay. Him and Big Williams were.
He's got to go after this year. I'm done with him. That contract is awful.
I would have kept Dalvin Tomlinson. Y'all, they wanted to argue that. I would have been on the Dalvin Tomlinson wave. Wave. But if that's what y'all want to do, that's what I said.
Why does he always? I'm curious why whenever you have a thought, you assume that we have the opposite. I don't know.
I love that.
9 times out of 10, you disagree with me. And then you laugh at me at that. We go,
you're praise of the Jets.
Yes. We go draft. Who do you want? Zay, who do you want? Let's Sauce Gardner. You're crazy. We need an offensive lineman. You're crazy. We need Thibodeau. He's the future. He's a generational pass rusher.
Not for nothing. But Deonte Banks is turning out to be a shutdown quarterback in this football league.
Bro.
And
Banks are closing on Sundays.
I mean, Purdue, listen, to grab a guy late first round like they did, and to get a guy who I think has been like an impact player at this point, that speaks volumes. He's no Sauce Gardner.
No.
I'll give you that. But this kid is damn good.
Bro, I told y'all don't worry about the secondary. When we had our little preseason show, I said I'm not worried about the secondary. It's the pass rush. The secondary is going to hold it down. And whether it's been him, whether it's been Flott, whether it's been what's the safety Pinnock, who's been even better than McKinney this year, who's disappeared. Give me Pinnock can hit, he can cover. He had the pick 6, I believe. Also, that man has been doing everything you can ask. I never want to see Bain on the field. Daniel Delton Bain, he can stay off the field. I never want to see him again. But keep Pinnock, keep Flott,
listen. I was very critical because I'm a big Xavier McKinney fan. I thought he played well this week. He was hustling and he was hitting and he was playing hard. But you're absolutely right. He'd been kind of the weak spot in the secondary up until this week. But it's the pass rush. And again, I just bought my son just got for his 8th birthday a Kayvon Thibodeau jersey. And I just want this dude to start playing hard. That's it. I'm telling you, Zay.
He's had a decent season so far. We have 6 sacks this season. He has 4 of them.
But that's fine. But he should have 10. Yeah. I mean, so
the fact that we have 6 is an issue.
Who had 6 the other night? He got 4 all year. Would he have 4 last year? Listen. First of all, it's time to let this kid loose. I know he's not happy with the way they're using him in Wink's defense, and Wink doesn't care, but Wink should care because they're 1-5. So whatever you're doing, it's not working. And desperate times call for desperate measures. So it would be nice to see, again, throw the ball down the field to Jalen Hyatt. Seems like a thing that should be incorporated in future games.
That feels like the only thing that's been working for this offense all season. If you think back to the Cardinals game, that was the big spark in that game. If you look on Sunday night, even though we didn't score, the best couple plays came from throwing to Jalen Hyatt downfield. So the fact that we don't use him more definitely frustrates me, but I think that he needs to see the field more than guys like Isaiah Hodgins right now. Paris Campbell can go. We can send him back to Indy right now.
Well, sure. It's funny. You're also putting yourself in a position where you're going to run the play action and go down the field to Wyatt, and you almost kind of can see it coming a little bit.
Who cares? You can't keep up with that boy.
Yeah, you can't.
I understand that, but I think this is why you got to get this kid more involved in the offense. Anybody watch the Patriots game this past weekend? Belichick brought Malik Cunningham in, and they just crowded the line, and at the snap, everybody just charged, and Cunningham lost like 5 or 6 yards on the play. There was nowhere to go. Everybody knew he wasn't in the game to throw the football. So just crowd the line and go nuts. I mean, look, again, listen, if the Patriots are going to run Malik Cunningham in a quarterback, he's going to have to throw the ball a time or two just to keep the defense honest. Same thing here. If you're only bringing Wyatt in occasionally, it's pretty obvious what's going on.
No, but that's stupid. Hyatt should be treated like Deshaun Jackson. Put the kid out there and let him play. And Deshaun Jackson ran the same damn routes every time, and guess what? He made a great career out of it. And no issues with it. And he has the most longest lasting image in all Giants fans' minds that will never, ever go away, that has to play at every football commercial and event. And this history goes on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't have to bring it up, and I won't bring it up. But again, the Giants need to start treating him like I would put the kid on damn punt return. He's that damn fast. I would let him try.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're messing around so much with all these different return guys.
Stop putting Adoree Jackson. I don't want to see my top corner back there.
No, I don't either.
Put the dispendable, the wide receiver, put him out there. Because again, if he touches the ball, he touches space. I'm telling you, he's a nightmare. He's an absolute nightmare if he can get open.
All right. Giants are entertaining at MetLife this weekend. Probably going to get some rain for this game, which will make it really awesome. The Commanders,
Giants
Commanders are somehow 3-3. Sam Howell's looked a little bit better of late. This team really, the defense, for whatever reason, this defense was on the cusp of being a top defense, and it's never quite materialized. They got a lot of really good players on that defense. Their running game has also been lacking pretty bad. The Commanders, obviously known best for the Hogs, the big offensive line. Much like the Giants, offense is definitely a problem for the Commanders. This will be an interesting game.
Yeah. If there's any line that's almost as bad as the Giants, it's been the Commanders this year. They've been giving up, I think, the most sacks in the league. But first or second, I know the Giants Commanders right there. So if we can't generate a pass rush against this team, then I don't know what to tell you. This is the game that they have to break out. And, Kayvon's got to come after them, Leo Dex. I don't know if Azeez Ojulari is ever playing again. So I don't think
he's on IR. Don't worry about that. He's on IR.
But yes, we have to generate the pass rush. Secondary has to lock up. They do have some good receivers, so if we can get some pressure on Sam Howell, I think that will alleviate the secondary a little bit, who's had to work really hard staying in coverage for a long time. And then for the offense, they do have a really good pass rush with Sweat, Chase Young, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. They come from not just the edge, but from the interior as well. So we need to see this O-line step up again. We saw in the second half against the Bills, they did a pretty decent job. So we're going to need another huge game out of Justin Pugh. Evan Neal looks pretty decent against the Bills, so we're going to need that again. If we want to get anything, it really comes down to the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that's how we're going to be able to win this game.
All right. Just putting that up there depressed me, 1-5. Look, it is what it is. We were 5-1 last year, so you can't. It ebbs and flows. You can't have all the good. You got to have some bad that goes with the good. You got to muck it up. But again, I'm trying to think more of like the Lions last year, who started off rough. Dan Campbell rallied the guys and got them playing really good football towards the end of the year. Almost made the playoffs, and you've seen how it's translated into this year. How it's just turned them into I think, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm taking Detroit as my team to win the NFC. But that's another topic for another day. I do think they're the best team in the NFC. Again, another topic for another day. But I think the Giants do pull their little Detroit move with this stretch coming up, and I think the Giants start to pick up some wins and try to get this season going. No, I don't say wait till 2024.
So it's
no.
all over. Pack it on.
Look, listen, at 1-5, it's an uphill battle. And being realistic, being football fans, knowing what we know of the sport, not being idiotic, hypothetical dreaming fans, 1-5 is practically a death sentence. The best thing we can hope out of this is a respectable record at the end of this. And again, we translate that into next year, pick up some talent that can help out where we need, because now we know where the obvious issues are, offense and defensive line, like fix that ASAP. But Yeah, no, I think the Giants do pick this up. I think even if Daniel Jones doesn't play, I think Tyrod Taylor is a good enough quarterback against a Commanders team. It's not that great. I think he can pull this off. Again, the Bills are a way much better team, and Tyrod fared very well there. He'll have another week of starting and under his belt, so he should be a little more acclimated to this offense, and they should be more familiar about what to do with him and how to get him involved. Because again, I think that was one thing they were trying to learn is how to call plays for Tyrod. Tyrod and Daniel Jones, though they have similar skill sets, they're two different quarterbacks. We know Tyrod's going to run and look down the field, and we know when Daniel Jones hits that damn corner, he's going to run you over. So they're two different quarterbacks. He's more Josh Allen, and Tyrod's more, I guess, I don't even Russell Wilson, someone who runs and looks down the field also. But I'm just trying to keep it all together. But yeah, I think they can win this. And we go on our streak. I'm just trying to be positive, bro. I'm trying to talk positivity and life into this team because at 1-5, there's just not much to say. Yeah, there's not much there. You're hoping.
I think the Giants will score a touchdown this week.
That's a start.
And I think they will lose 17-16 on a late field goal.
That's very possible, actually. Battle the mediocre pass rushers and Chase Young and Kayvon Thibodeau. It's just going to be, I don't know. Again, we're hoping what happened last year happens with Kayvon, where he had his game of his career against the Redskins. We're hoping he could do that every year and just play great against the Redskins, guarantee us 2 wins. But there's not much to say for this Giants. There aren't players to watch. There aren't people to, oh, well, I'm looking forward to him having a big game. No one's had a big game all year. They've had maybe the second half against the Cardinals. That was a big half, not really a big game. So,
yeah, look, they haven't put any of the 3 elements of football together for us. Again, outside of that second half against the Cardinals, it's been a disaster. The offense can't move the ball. The defense struggles to stop teams. They can't get off the field on third down. Special teams has been a disaster. Graham Gano's been missing field goals at a pace you don't see from a Graham Gano. So I don't know. Maybe you're right, Zay. Maybe the luck has run out.
It happens. Again, you can always get it back.
How do you get the mojo back?
I don't know, but that's what the Giants. That's the best way to put it. The Giants need to get their mojo back. That's really what it is. They need to get healthy. I think, like I said, over this next stretch, they'll get healthier. They'll get guys back. We'll see Jones. And I honestly think if Jones plays, if he's healthy against the Bills, I think we win that game. I think Jones has a lot of resetting to do. He's been hit a lot this year, and that's why he doesn't make the passes as fast as he should or make the proper reads because he's so worried about he's back his head. Pass rushers are living rent-free. He's been sacked a lot of times this year. The Dolphins beat him up. It's hard to do that as a quarterback to go, all right, make the next play, make the next throw because he has no trust in his line. So I'm hoping they get healthy. He gets trust back in his line. You could see it was there last year. There was a different feel about the offense, the way he commanded it, there was a different level of confidence that's just not there this year. It hasn't been present since that 40-point drubbing week 1 against the Cowboys. It's like they took everything from us in that one game. And we haven't found it back since. We found it for a little while against the Cardinals, and it's been rough, bro. It's been rough.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point about Jones, though, because we saw in his first couple of years with the Giants when he was a rookie and then second, third year that he didn't look comfortable in the pocket and he didn't trust his O-line. So he was always, rushing the ball out, making poor decisions, kind of, chopping his feet in the pocket, not trusting the line. And last year was the first time where he really looked comfortable in the offense, stepped into throws right off of, the 3-step drops, didn't have to worry about the pass rush getting there. And then we saw it revert back to what he looked like his first couple of years through the first couple of games, especially in the Cowboys game, the Seahawks game, where he was just getting mauled out there. So really, I think that has to do with a big part of this offense. Obviously, we haven't been scoring at all, and I think that's definitely a big part to do with it. He just doesn't look comfortable out there, so he needs to find that comfortability within the line. And Andrew Thomas coming back, John Michael Schmidt's coming back will definitely help with that. And I think that's definitely what this team needs right now. I couldn't read it while I was talking.
Say, did I get the gist of what you were saying?
The first part.
I think you summed it up.
Honestly, you laugh about that, but the Commanders could be in play to win the division. They really could be. I know it's bad to say that, but first off, we haven't played them yet, so you can't determine if they're better than us or if they're not better than us. We'll find out on Sunday. They could easily win this game just as easily as they can lose it. And if they win this game, again, you're talking about you would need the Eagles to lose 2 games. Then you guys would have you guys have similar records, and you'd have to win another 2 after the Giants. I mean, it can happen mathematically. Yes, the Commanders, and they have won a division before, and Ron Rivera's playing for his career. Crazier crap has happened. I mean, do you trust the Cowboys? Do you really trust the Cowboys to compete? No.
In the regular season, not in the playoffs.
I told you the Eagles have looked shaky all year. I continue to stand by that. It's not a thing that they just lost to the Jets because they had a bad week. They've had really bad weeks going up into that, and that just happened to be the time that they and I don't think the Jets are a bad team by any stretch. I think they should have beat the Chiefs the week before too. Unfortunately, Taylor Swift isn't in their locker room. She's in the other locker room, so it didn't work out for them. But again, a team against you played the Jets and you lost. You couldn't score anything. That high-powered offense, again, screw Tennessee for giving A.J. Brown to the Eagles. I will always hate Tennessee for that. But how many points? Look at how many points they put up on a regular. We've talked about it. They haven't lost since going back to last year. They put up big numbers. They couldn't score against the Jets. And again, I told you the teams they faced before are all 1-4 and 3-3. They've played nobodies. The other teams they put up points against. And the Jets had Aaron Rodgers. That could have been a worse game. That could have been a worse loss for them. I'm being real with you.
One question.
Believe in the Eagles. Remember I said this on the show.
Yes.
I do not believe in the Eagles this year.
I know. What's your least favorite football team in the NFL?
My least favorite football team in the NFL?
Yeah.
The one I hate with a passion?
Yeah.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys.
Who's number 2?
Probably the Eagles. Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, no. So that's what I'm saying.
No,
those are the 2 teams that you hate the most.
Because
and you're suggesting that these 2 teams
here's the
are
difference. I openly knighted them last year. I didn't knock them for their win streak. I openly knighted the Eagles and like, yo, they are the cream of the crop. They're going to be up there with the 49ers. I did not argue that with you last year. I did think that we could compete with them. Obviously, we looked lousy. Again, our 2 times that we played them, which I don't even understand. 3 times, excuse me. Yes, forgot about that. But which I can't even understand. Because if you look at the rosters, it shouldn't have been as bad as those games were. I don't know, bro. There was a lot of plays we missed in that games.
Will the Giants beat the Eagles this year?
Not a chance.
Hell no.
Actually, I think if there's any chance the Giants can pull it off, it'll be this year. It'll be this year. And I don't know if it's because there's a new offensive coordinator, there's some defensive pieces missing, and there's a lot going on with the Eagles right now where they don't look like they're running at full steam. This is where they're vulnerable. So if there was any time the Giants could pull off a win against them, it would be, when they're still trying to figure out their new coordinator situation and their defense is, again, missing pieces. We've seen what happened with the safeties where one went to Detroit and the other one was like, screw you guys. And they running back went to Carolina because he wasn't getting paid. There's a lot of moving pieces. They don't know what they're doing at running back. Are they running Swift in the beginning of the game? Is he playing the second half? They're just giving the ball to whoever's hot at this point. There's a lot of question marks on that Eagles defense. A.J. Brown arguing with the quarterback. Devonta Smith had so many drops that last game. I don't know where the hell he at. He hasn't been in the games. He hasn't been playing. They were so bad they went and go sign Julio Jones off the streets. It's been that bad. They picked up Julio Jones off the streets. I'm telling you, there's something about this Eagle team. I'm not putting them in championship. I tell you, Detroit's my team.
I don't think they're as good as last year, but to say they've been so bad when they're at 5-1, I don't think they're as dominant, but they still have one of the most talented teams in the NFL.
What quality have they played at 5-1?
I mean, nobody really, but they're still 5-1. You have to beat who's in front of you.
I completely agree with that. But while they have beaten those teams, they've struggled mightily. Is what I'm saying.
I wouldn't say
That's
mightily.
The problem. That's the problem. Last year, when they faced teams that were 1-4, the Eagles ran through them. You saw what they did to us. They ran through teams that are simply worse than them. This year, they're not doing that.
I'll tell you what. When you look at the way the Giants played against the Eagles last year, I think when the Giants and the Eagles play, and it's not for quite a while, but when they do finally meet, I think you'll have your answers. I mean, if the Giants get blown out, then it'll be like, well, same old Eagles. But if the Giants can somehow,
I think that it'd be a good, but then again, it's hard to say because again, we played good against teams like the Bills. Well, again, I think right now, currently, I think the Bills are a better team. I think if those two teams play right now in some hypothetical world for a playoff spot, the Bills and the Eagles, just hypothetical world, I think the Bills win that game. I just being real with you, I think the Bills are the better team currently right now. I don't think the Eagles. The Eagles were last year. It was the Eagles and everybody else. That's literally what it felt like at one point last year. This year has not felt like that. It felt like at times the 49ers and everybody else, but not Eagles. And they're 5-1. To be 5-1 and not feel that way, there's something up with that. Think about it. When the Giants were 5-1 last year, nobody believed in us. Remember, it's the teams you beat in front. Remember, the Giants were underdogs up almost until the playoffs last year. But they had a winning record. Because, again, you can have a winning record, but people may not see it based on the way you play. And based on the way we played against the Eagles in the playoffs, we didn't have it the way our record reflected the way we had it. That's just what it comes down to. Your record could be a lie of your team. The same way the Giants were 1-5, and that could be a lie. It's the same way the Eagles are 5-1, and that could be a lie.
They're definitely not as dominant as last year, but as of right now, I still think they're a top 3 team in the NFC.
No. I mean, NFC, yes. Probably NFC, yes. Probably NFC.
Do you realize that if the Giants would have pulled off the upset against the Bills, they would have they'd be 2-4, and the Bills would be 3-3. And there'd be one game separating those teams. And again, it's like, do you think that those teams are close?
Look who the Bills
The NFL is a weird league and a lot of weird things, and especially when it pertains to the Giants.
Look who the Bills have played, and look who they've lost to. Other than that week 1 blunder that he was just giving the game away to the Jets, he did everything. They lost Aaron Rodgers. And Bills did everything to give the Jets the game. In a game they should have been emotionally out of it, physically out of it. You completely had their season lost on the 3rd play of the game, and you gave that game away. That's one loss. Then you talk about they flew across seas to play the Jaguars. Jaguars were there a week before. The Jaguars are acclimated to the time, acclimated to the area. They were jet lagged. You could see it. They didn't play well that game, and they still almost came back and won. And obviously, the second loss, which I skipped over, was against a Miami team who put up 70 points this year in one game. So it's not like they're losing to bums. They're losing to, obviously, again, a Jets game that was just a letdown. They always do that. And a Jaguars team who will be in the playoffs, and a Miami team who's probably a top team in the AFC. And I think the Jaguars are a top 10. Are they not a top 5 team in the AFC right now? Yeah. Would you disagree with me that the Jaguars and Miami Dolphins are top 5 teams in the AFC right now?
No, for sure. They beat the Dolphins.
Oh, they beat? I thought they lost. Oh, no, the week before. Excuse me. The Dolphins lost the last one. Who did the third loss to?
They only have 2 losses. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, right? I'm sorry. Tripping. Yeah. I'm tripping.
Yeah, they only have 2 losses. They would have. They would have, and it would have been the Giants of all teams. So, and again.
Exactly. They're a good team. You lost because you had a week 1 letdown. A lot of crap happened in that game. They were probably worried about Aaron Rodgers too. And then you're talking about flying overseas and you lose overseas, a team that's been there 2 weeks before prior. It's a lot going on. But again, the Eagles have been home they've been in America playing the same regular teams. And again, you're struggling. You shouldn't be struggling against New England. Mac Jones can't throw. I'm sorry, Joe. That's your boy. Mac Jones is horrible.
Mac Jones, like Daniel Jones, has a beautiful touch. And for whatever reason, Bill Belichick doesn't trust in him or just doesn't want him, whatever the case may be. It seems like Bill Belichick would be content to win all his games 9-6 if he could.
It seems like it.
I mean, going back to the Patriots-Jets game a few weeks ago, there was 2:46 to go. And do you realize that those teams each had 3 possessions back and forth in the last 2:46? Mac Jones is not that bad of a quarterback. Bill Belichick has put him in a position of failure. This is because Bill Belichick I think he's in the early stages of I don't know what coaching dementia is, but I don't think he knows what he's doing anymore. It started last year when his defensive coordinator was the offensive coordinator and the special teams coach was also the offensive coordinator. That didn't make any sense. Or how about when his first round pick was a guard that everybody had in the 4th round?
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Belichick has done some very sus things. Hey, how about playing the Bills? Let's run the ball 64 times, and we won't even throw it.
They won that game.
I understand that, Sean. He's a genius, but he's also losing his mind, and he makes bad choices.
I get what you're saying. There's like splash picks. Like when I took Odell Beckham in his rookie year, and I took him in the 2nd round of fantasy, and I looked ridiculously crazy. Thank God it won me fantasy. It was the biggest, dumbest mistake because he got hurt, and I was like, God damn it, this is the dumbest thing ever. He single-handedly won me fantasy. But that's what he was trying to do, and it seems like it looked like the Gettleman moves when we know we could have got Daniel Jones, and that's what bugs me. We could have got Daniel Jones later and really built this line out the way we should have, and got defensive pass rushers that we probably could have gotten earlier with picks. Daniel Jones was pick number 6. Am I correct? That's a huge spot. You could get so much at number 6, and knowing that Daniel Jones could have been taken in the 3rd round. No one's taking a quarterback from North Carolina or Duke. I'm sorry. And Duke has a great quarterback right now in college. No one is taking a quarterback from North Carolina and Duke in the 1st round in any draft but the New York Giants, unfortunately.
We're getting Drake May, that means?
No. We're not even getting Caleb Williams. I'm just being honest.
David Brown was not that bad of a quarterback.
Again, nothing is worse than having an Alabama quarterback or Ohio State quarterback because they don't seem to ever win anything.
Well,
name me one that's won a Super Bowl.
CJ Stroud.
He's looked good, but
he's one of my fantasy quarterbacks. I'm 5-1 in that league where he's my QB. And I got another league where I got Tua as my QB, and I'm also 5-1. But CJ Stroud, I don't know if you've been looking at the numbers. He doesn't turn the ball over. What he's done the first 5-6 weeks of the season for a rookie is mind-blowing. He's putting up phenomenal numbers. I don't know how good that team's going to be this year, but boy,
they're solid.
He's really good.
They're not playoff bound, but they are going in the right direction.
Yeah.
It looks like they finally are after scapegoating like 3 coaches and trading away Deshaun Watson. They're looking like the winners of that trade.
Yeah. I think D'Amico Ryan's a really good coach too.
They're looking like the winners of that Deshaun Watson trade. I mean, he doesn't look that great in Cleveland. He's still got a lot of years left, and he can turn it around, and he better turn it around for the money they're paying him.
Yeah. So could Russell Wilson.
Hey, look, Russell Wilson got a Super Bowl. You can be mad all you want. He got a Super Bowl. He's won in life already. He's got a Super Bowl. He's got a family.
I'm not worried about Russell Wilson. I'm worried about Denver and the fact that they gave up a ton.
So what? Who cares? They cheated the game, just like LA when they did the move for Peyton Manning. They cheated the game for a Super Bowl, and this is what happens. This is the repercussions. When you cheat for a Super Bowl, your team goes through a couple of years of turmoil. This is just the Rams are going to be like that for a while too. And what sucks is it's going to look promising because Stafford's been looking pretty decent this year, but he's not going to make anything of it because that team is what it is, and they don't have draft picks for a while. That's the part. That's what selling your soul gets you. Look what the Cowboys did. They did it in 97, apparently 96, apparently, because they haven't won in.
Doesn't it though blow your mind to think that the Giants are like strapped for cash, that they've got serious salary cap limitations, and it's like, who on this team is even getting paid? I mean, other than Dexter Lawrence and DJ, nobody else makes any money on this team.
Leonard Williams, Dory Jackson,
Leonard Williams. They got some big contracts.
What does it Dory Jackson make?
He signed over 15 million. 66 million with us that year. Or something
he
like
sucks. They should trade him.
Leonard Williams is due like 30 million this year.
We're still paying Galladay. You think that just falls off the books? You think that's just a tax write-off?
Yeah, but do you understand the Giants have
still paying Odell.
Since the salary cap came into the league, like the Giants have never been good with this thing. Nope. They've never really seemed to have a good grasp of the concept. They're always strapped for. And I remember there being an off season where you're like, "Wow, this guy's got a ton of dough to spend." It like never happens. I don't understand.
The only one is the year going into 2016.
2016, the 2015 off season.
That wasn't even that much dough. It wasn't even that much dough. It was like 40 million or something like that.
Yeah, we spent it all on like 3 players too.
Usually we have like usually we have like $4 million in the off season to sign all our picks and patch all our holes, and that's a problem. It's so weird. I've never understood that. All right, let's wrap this up. I can already hear my wife screaming. She's had it.
She probably bet.
Let's go Diamondbacks.
ClovercrestMedia.com/Jawing About the G-Men, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You could find us on all of those things. Like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 blah. For King Zay and Sean Scanlon, I'm Joe McGuire. Thank you so much for watching Jawing About the G-Men. Hopefully this team represents. See you next week.